Okay, so already talked about the plays that the 49ers made to get off the field in the second half. Let's rewind and talk about the first half. That player right there, 7, Mooney Ward, was on Jim Rome on Wednesday, and he was talking about how the Lions came out and pushed him around. They kind of bunked him. And if you watch these first few plays, that's exactly what happened. So I appreciated Mooney being honest there because the Lions, I mean, they just brought it. And you have to give Ben Johnson a ton of credit. We're at the stage of the season where it's best on best. This isn't good on good. And you're going to see in a few of these plays, like this one, the 49ers just flat out got gashed. So in this play, like you can see there's a player in the wrong gap, and that's how you get a wide open run through. So from this angle, you'll be able to see it better. All right, so just talking about run, there's Javon Hargrave. We're looking right down the middle. He has this gap. This D tackle has this gap. Fred Warner has this gap. He's going to flow. So here's how it plays out. Obviously, right, Warner steps wrong, right? He's thinking, Warner reads this split zone action, this guy coming across, and he's thinking the run's going to go that way. So he hops that way. And as soon as he does, the left guard, who Eric Armstead does a really good job of holding on to him so he can't climb to the second level and block Warner, but Warner blocks himself. And then on the other side of the ball, Oren Brooks. He needs to read the block from in front of him, step straight ahead. He does not. So base block, right? If they just step right in front of you, there's no reason to go right or left. Nothing about that play takes Oren Brooks to the right. And this happened over the course of the first half. So that's why when you watch these plays back, I don't really think it was on Steve Wilks. Like the players did not make the plays they needed to. There were a handful of times, there's no doubt, where Steve Wilks could have called, more man coverage, for example, or just had a better combination on. So it was a bit of both. But man, they made a ton of mistakes in the first half. And this is another play where, if anything, this is just scheme. So Ambry Thomas does his job. Let's watch Ambry Thomas right here. Here's Ambry Thomas. He has the number 1 wide receiver, so whoever is on the outside. As you can see, there's the motion. So now Ambry has the new number 1. That is Sam Laporta. Sam Laporta is blocking. He recognizes that. So what does he do? He finds work. He's taught to find work. He's doing his job there. But that little block for 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi confuses Ambry. And this is just a good OC finding ways to manipulate the defense's rules. Shanahan does it a couple times a quarter. So again, we're at a stage in the season where the best offensive minds are going to have ways to get over on the defense. And they did it again right here. Okay, very next play. Watch the bottom of the screen. Watch Nick Bosa right here. So another way to manipulate the rules. So Nick Bosa, he sees a pulling guard. Instantly, once he sees that, this pulling guard, and the back goes away from him, he's thinking run. That is not what happened. So this is a run 9 times out of 10. Like you can tell the way that he's playing the run. You can tell, watch Bosa, watch how flat he goes down the line of scrimmage. To him, that is a run play. That is a tackle for loss. And those are the kind of plays that he makes so much now that we just kind of take for granted. And obviously, worst case scenario there, you get the touchdown. So we acknowledge that, Bosa reads run. And the next part about this play is just the motion. So they're feeling motion, they're thinking motion. Just that action, everything tells them it's going that way. And just those little false steps to the right there, 1, 2, by both these two, take them out of position. Monroe St. Brown's able to get over here. And that's how you get Jameson Williams outside. And now it's just numbers advantage, right? 1, 2, 1, 2. They got a hat on the hat. He can go here. And now it's Jameson Williams on him. But here's the backside corner. And that's why it's football's fun. And this is why I really appreciated this game, is because there are so many different levels in this game. So in a pursuit drill, and Kyle Shanahan talked about how awful the pursuit was by the 49ers. He said it was their worst ever. So he is the backside corner. He is the pursuit. He needs to run toward the pylon. He needs to play for the cutback. Instead, Ambry Thomas comes so flat, and the ball can absolutely not get inside of him. So right here, he's already lost. And then if you want to go back here, and then you talk about effort, right? So watch. He's trying, but this 4-2 guy, he's not going to get there. You can make an argument for everybody over here is kind of just loafing, assuming that a tackle is going to be made. You can see Dre Greenlaw kind of turn the Jets on here. But by the time he does, it's too late. Doesn't make the tackle. And man, that's how you get an explosive play. So out of the gate, poor start a week ago, 49ers follow up with the same thing. I want to put this throw on here just because. This is Goff feeling the pressure. This is Goff not even looking comfortable, checking the ball down before he should. And if you watch this route right here, like if he just waits, the over's there. That deep over's there. But he doesn't. And in my mind, this is the difference of, a game manager and somebody who's willing to kind of just let it rip down the field. When people argue about game managers and what they can do, these are the kind of throws that they want to mean, right? In my opinion, anyway. This is like my takeaway. So it takes his drop. He's looking down the barrel. Doesn't even get to the over. And it's an easy check down. So the 49ers got lucky here, that's for sure. All right, so stopping the run. That was really, really tough for the 49ers. And on this play, you're going to see a linebacker get pinned. You're going to see another linebacker not be able to flow over the top. You're going to see a defensive end get ragdolled. Thankfully, you make a tackle, live to fight another down. But from this angle, so again, he has the gap right in front of him. As soon as he goes outside, that means both of these two are the edge, right? They need to set the edge, and that does not happen. That means nobody can get outside of them. So one, Chase Young gets thrown out of the club. Can't happen. And then two, he needs to keep his outside shoulder free, and nobody can get outside of him. Because he doesn't, now 54 cannot flow. In a dream world, it plays out like he is on the other half. Jahmyr Gibbs has to cut back right into the flow of Fred Warner. Maybe Fred Warner should still be able to make the play. I'm fine with that, if that's your argument. But it's just another poorly fit run, and the edge not set. So thankfully, again, the safety makes a tackle. You live for another down. Okay, so one thing that you can't do is coach effort. And watch these two players on this play. It shouldn't take, this many plays into an NFC Championship for your players to sell out. On that first touchdown run, you could see that was not the case. But on this play, their two best players, 97, 54, like they are setting the tone. This is what you need from your defense every play. Like they're giving it everything they have, and that's what you need. All right, so here's another game manager level throw right here from Goff. So if we're watching the top of the screen, he's as open as it gets right now. There's a lot of cushion in between these two. Why are you not throwing the ball? Instead, he throws underneath. So, sure, it's a completion, but now if you just watch Warren Burks, it's another slip. Second week in a row, first half, 49ers, they're slipping. Watch Burks. Tell me if he doesn't slip here, this isn't pass breakup, pick six. You just got to keep your feet underneath you, right? So, rule of thumb, when you're like backpedaling, playing linebacker, playing DB, if your feet are underneath you, like they were all up until here, he's fine. He's moving effortlessly. And as soon as his feet go outside of his circle, outside of his frame, just like that right here, you're always going to fall. Like that is inevitable. And when you're playing high, it's almost multiplied. So you see, loses footing, but the ball is late. The ball is behind the running back. Man, my first inclination was like, this is pick six, pass breakup. Like this is something good for the 49ers here. Scheme, find a way to avoid throwing to 54 and 57. You run coverage off, throw it underneath. As you can see, pass rush. Bosa took a little long to get there, but no real winners. But either way, another play, another slip leads to another first down. But yeah, I think this might be the best angle here as far as where the ball is. He has to turn around to catch the ball. So yeah, man, if Burks gets out of his break cleanly there, I think he has one. They did not blitz Jared Goff very often, but watch what happens when you blitz Jared Goff. Top of the screen, Dre Greenlaw is going to come off a blitz, off the edge. You spook the quarterback, you give him the throw off platform, he panics and throws an incompletion. In my mind, it was that simple. And maybe that's simplifying it too much. But we saw the same play with Brock Purdy, right? And he acknowledged a free rusher, and he did not panic. And Christian McCaffrey ran down the sideline for 20 extra yards. Here, in the same scenario, veteran quarterback has a free rusher, cannot do the same thing. Running back stumbles because the pass is so inaccurate. Bring the pressure. Very next play, Javon Kinlaw fires off the ball, mushes the puller into the backfield, and Warner gets a tackle for loss. So in the playoffs, no defensive tackle has more tackles than him. He actually has the second highest win percentage tracking wise as a pass rusher. So he is played, I don't want to say over his head because he's a former first round pick, but he's playing exactly like the 49ers had hoped he would. He's playing very well, and he's giving them very valuable snaps. I know it's only 2 games, it's small sample size, but he's healthy. He's getting off the ball. From this angle, he gets his second, all right, so from this angle, Chris Kosaric, every day in practice, they do these get off drills, get off the ball drills. Your second step needs to be in the ground first. Watch his feet and watch his feet. Reigning Defensive Player of the Year, first round pick who was relegated to bench duty. Watch his feet. 1, 2. His second foot's in the ground. His is not. Chris Kosaric is probably gushing about this play. So fires upfield, good pad level. Obviously, his helmet is below the other person's helmet. That means you're playing with good pad level. He cannot be blocked when he does that. And he has honestly played like that for 2 straight games. So kudos to Kinlaw, man, for taking the coaching, for obviously being healthy helps. But he's looked very good, and I think it's very important to point that out because he deserves it, and he's playing for a new contract. And he's going to have some options if he plays like this against the Chiefs, that's for sure. Okay, so you do everything right on first down, on second down. Now you get 3rd and 9, and you get a screen away from the blitz. Come on. That's pretty tough. So here's a look at it from the end zone angle. You have Chase Young falling off. They did a lot of little zone pressures like this where one of the defensive ends, namely 92, would fall off. But here, there's not much you can do. It's just one of those hat tip plays, right? The offense, they get paid too. Jerry Brown does his job, makes a tackle, live to fight another day. But tough one because, we're complaining, hey, be aggressive, blitz more. Here's a blitz on 3rd down, and the Lions make them pay for it by picking up a first down after getting stops on 1st and 2nd down. So here's another example where it's really tough to point fingers at Steve Wilks. So this is where you just get out-schemed. Ben Johnson knows the 49ers, when they're on defense, one of the only times they do play man coverage is when they're backed up in the red zone. So here we go. The motion to the bottom of the screen, that's going to take Charvarius Ward out of the picture because he has this person in man coverage. So when Josh Reynolds goes here, when he goes here, when he goes any direction, Mooney Ward has to follow him. And as you can see, he does. In any other scenario, his job is to be the force player and take away the run out here, force it back inside. He can do that if he's following the wide receiver. So again, hat tip to the Lions for doing their job. Now, watch the defensive end to the bottom of the screen. That's Randy Gregory. He does his job here too. He gets off the block. He goes and meets the puller. Could you say he's a little eager to get there? Sure, but man, he does his job. He's aggressive, and that's what you want to see. And then we're looking at the linebackers here. So Jerry Brown's going to walk into the picture late. In my opinion, he's a player to our left there, 27. He's a player who has to trigger, right? So he's playing quasi linebacker right now. So now you have to be exactly like these two. Watch the difference in how they trigger downhill. Watch him. He's a maniac. And then watch him. He's still in the same spot. You can't have that when you're playing that position. So learning curve for a rookie, man. It's not easy. You have to read the flow. Can't let him get outside you. And he does. Thankfully, again, made the tackle, lived for another down. But unfortunately, the next 2 plays were 290-pound Kevin Givens taking on double teams against the best offensive line in the NFL. And those went as you would imagine. So another drive where you're getting stops on early downs. You're winning on first down. Before this play, Eric Armstead won, forced an incomplete pass. But those little mistakes, that is the difference. And you can't have those type of mistakes against these quality teams. So 2 drives, 2 touchdowns. Okay, 3rd drive. So think about everything that's happened so far in 2 drives. 14 points, 15 plays. Feels like it's deja vu. We just watched this movie. So top of the screen, 3rd drive, they come out with Randy Gregory at defensive end. Tayshaun Gibson was the down safety. But the second level doesn't win. Eric Armstead plays this right in front of us about as well as you can. But because they don't win, you get another chunk play, and you're thinking out of the gate, here we go again. So just watch the second level guys, whether it's 48, 54, 57. None of them get off a block, and the Lions get a chunk play. So you get after you've just built up rhythm, after you've scored pretty effortlessly, 2 drives in a row. I feel like this took them all out of their rhythm. I mean, you can see from the other end zone angle, Jerry Brown's there. Like, he's on top of the receiver. He's in a great position. If you're going to take a shot play, why not use your speedy receiver, Jameson Williams, and not Josh Reynolds, somebody who Jerry can run with. This long developing play, a guy like Nick Bosa, he's going to get there. So I really think Ben Johnson bailed the 49ers out here. So you come back on 2nd down, and you get another stop because they decide to throw the ball over the middle of the field. And when you throw the ball over the middle of the field, it looks like that. So let's just walk through what Fred Warner's doing. A lot of times when we see the 49ers run this, we see the 49ers have their second guy run with this player and clears out this vacated window. Fred Warner's not taking the cheese, and he's there for the pass breakup. So just a really heads-up play from Warner. So now, 3rd and 10. And what does Wilks style up on 3rd and 10? A 4-man pressure with a disguised combination zone. Allows Goff to sit back and pick it apart. And the 49ers go 1st down. So the disguise isn't the problem here because pre-snap, you have what looks like a single high, right? So the disguise isn't the problem here. You have 2 wide safeties, so you're thinking some kind of 2-high shell, and it's on the snap. He's responsible for a deep half. He has a deep half. He actually comes down in the middle. The issue is, Goff has time, right? So part of the reason you blitz is you want to speed him up. You don't want to have these big, giant, soft zones where there's vacated holes. So on the season, Goff had an on-target percentage of 76% against zone coverage. Like, when he's not pressured, he's going to make that throw. A lot of times, obviously, 76%, that's near the top. If the 49ers do this against Patrick Mahomes, he was even better. He was 79.5% on target against zone coverage. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. So even with a rangy linebacker like Fred Warner here, there's just so much room for him to cover. And all that said still, if your all-pro linebacker makes this tackle, nobody cares. You get off the field. It's all moot. But instead, he doesn't run to the correct hip. So tackling, 1-on-1 here, watch Warner. If he runs to the inside hip, if you ever run to the inside hip with a tackler, the ball carrier, you're going to make the tackle. Instead, he runs to the upfield shoulder, upfield hip, and Amon-Ra St. Brown picks up the 1st down. So, again, 3rd and 10 after winning on 1st and 2nd down, compile mistakes, soft zone, missed tackle by your best player, drive stays alive. All right, so now it's 1st down, and here's a toss. So to the top of the screen, that's Chase Young. He doesn't fly upfield. That is a great job. So going flat right here, Chase Young. By him going flat, so 1 step upfield, and then he goes flat, so it goes this direction. He forces Montgomery to keep bouncing it. And as you can see, Lenore, Tayshaun Gibson, they come flying downhill. This is a clinic for how to play the run aggressive. This is who this team is at its core. This is why it's so frustrating to watch these last couple first halves, because this is what they're capable of. Back, 2nd and long, simulated pressure. This is a great call from Steve Wilks. So what is a simulated pressure again? It is when one of the 1st level rushers drop off, one of the 2nd level defenders rush. How does it get a wide open sack for Nick freaking Bosa? Well, by Wilks knows to manipulate to manipulate the offensive line's protection, you put Fred Warner on this side of the ball, the center has no choice to slide this way. So now everybody's sliding this way. Warner's going to drop out. So now you have the right tackle. He is 1 on 2. He has to take the inside guy. Even if this is Nick Bosa, you have to protect your inside. He should probably stay here and chip. He doesn't. And that's how you get Nick Bosa with a sack 1-on-1. You cannot draw up a better play than this if you're Steve Wilks. So first play, on the 1st down, you have just your players being aggressive. 2nd down, you have your players being heady here. So watch Dre Greenlaw. His awareness to stop and get his hands up like that forces Goff to kind of eat that and take a sack. So great play call, good awareness. Bosa runs through, and you get an easy sack. Then how else do we get Nick Bosa 1-on-1? Kevin Givens, so he's outside of the right guard's shoulder. 3-tech, he crosses his face. So by crossing the right guard's face, he makes sure he has to turn his shoulders with him. Again, like the execution on this play is about as flawless as it gets. Then you force a third and 15, force an underneath throw, get off the field. So you just forced a 3 and out, but the quarterback just threw an interception, and it was a bad one. Now you have a short field, so you can either get in your feelings or you can step up and make a play. Watch this player right here. Fred Warner, there is no reason an offensive line should ever beat him to the punch if it is a foot race. Watch how quickly he recognizes this play. This is pretty amazing. So he recognizes the path of the running back, so as soon as he sees Jahmyr Gibbs go lateral, Warner takes off and just fires his guns. That is wild play. And honestly, if you just watch every other linebacker, this is what it looks like when all 3 of the second level defenders win. So we saw Warner shoot his gaps. Now watch Oren Brooks. So he gets to the other side of the offensive lineman. He wasn't doing that early in the game, right? He was getting pinned. So for him to win that way is good. Dre Greenlaw, he makes sure I cannot have anybody get outside of me. He sets the edge. And then, of course, Warner wins there. So, I mean, that's the difference in the 49ers defense. Right? When they make plays, you can see Warner strutting like that. When they make plays, they're unstoppable. But they have to do it every down. You can't pick and choose when you want to, quote-unquote, flip the switch. Okay, so you just had a 5-yard loss on first down. What do you do on second down? You come back and you give up a wide open completion for a first down. How frustrating is that? So slot blitz, Diamador Lenore. So again, you want the defensive coordinator to be aggressive. Okay, here he is. The difference is he's playing soft zone behind it. If we're watching Tayshaun Gibson, and his job is, as soon as I don't have a number 2 threat, so this is number 1, this is number 2, he's blocking, I need to get my eyes back across the middle and just find work. So he's a little late to do that. Here's Dre Greenlaw. You could make an argument that maybe he gets too much depth. Warner does his job by taking a higher cross. I don't know. In my opinion, like, you're bringing 5, so you're counting on somebody to get home. There's inevitably going to be a hole in the zone behind it because you're bringing pressure. And like Bosa comes close to winning, but that's not quick enough when you're blitzing. So again, the margin for error, the difference in getting home, relating to somebody in zone coverage quicker. But if you're going to come after Goff, you better get him. And they didn't on this play, and that's how you get a 1st and 10 after winning on first down. So we're watching Jair Brown, and this is 2nd and 7, 1 play after Fred Warner just made another stop. This technique is perfect. He is looking to cut any in-breaking route, and he does. He's playing flat-footed. He gets a read. He gets a beat on the throw. If this is accurate, if this is out in front of Amon-Ra St. Brown, this is a pick. It's a pass breakup. But instead, Goff, man, he for sure did this on purpose, right? So this is the difference between an on-target and a completion percentage, in my opinion. So this is Goff throwing the ball away from a defender. That's an INT for pretty much any other quarterback, any other golf throw, you could argue, outside of, the best of the best. But I'm not blaming Jair Brown on this play. Watch from this angle. Like, man, gets a read, recognizes the drop, so knows it's going to come out quick, is breaking on the ball as his hand is releasing, is there. Like, he's underneath the route. Maybe his track's off by a step, but look at this, man. This is the first down that they gave up. Cannot make that up. So can't blame Wilks for that. I really can't blame Brown for that either. This is just another situation, another example of the offense making plays. And what happens on the next play? What else happens on the next play? So another example of scheme getting over on the 49ers. So now there's a condensed wide receiver. He is going to crack down on Nick Bosa. There's another condensed wide receiver. He is going to crack down on Diamador Lenore. He is, quote-unquote, the force player, right? He's responsible for this. But because he's cracked, he is not there. So how it works out, when you see the person in front of you get blocked like that, you have to crack replace is what they call it. But he's also getting cracked. So now he has to crack replace. This play is on Tayshaun Gibson to come upfield like we just saw him a couple plays ago and make a tackle. Instead, he does not. Remember, I just talked about running to the outside hip, inside hip. If he runs to this hip, he's going to be fine and make the tackle. He over pursues. And as you can see, the rest of the defensive line that we're pursuing, and this is where Shanahan was talking about, our pursuit was not good. You cannot assume that somebody else is going to make a tackle. You have to fly the ball, and you be the one to make a tackle. So watch these three pull up right here. They thought the tackle was over. The play was dead, and it wasn't. And you give up a touchdown. So on first down on this series, new drive, Chase Young tackle for loss. He won on first down. Second down, Eric Armstead. He won, flushes Goff from the pocket, forces an inaccurate throw. Now you have another third down situation, and the 49ers, they get caught in a run, and it does not go well. So if you're thinking of what went wrong here, it looks like he crashes, and he's out of position, which he is. So he wrong arms this puller, and by wrong arm, I mean taking on the block with the wrong arm. He does that assuming he's going to have a linebacker help, but that was before the Lions motioned Sam Laporte away. So now he doesn't have any help because Fred Warner is no longer there because they're in man cover. So this is another example of the Lions manipulating the Niners rules against them and just getting over on them. So that's an example of wrong arming. So in most cases, like we saw Randy Gregory already, he is staying out here. He is staying on his outside shoulder and forcing the run to cut back up. But because Young thinks Warner's still there, he's going to take it on with his inside shoulder and force him to bounce right into Warner. But there is no Warner because of that motion. And that's how you get a first down on another 3rd and long. 3rd and 18. Both sides a sack on first down. Chase Young, Javon Hargrave, Eric Armstead, they all won, forced a tackle for loss on 2nd down. So 3rd and 18, what do? Rush 4, play a soft zone, give up a first down. Could not imagine. So this is why, like in my mind, this is why you want to speed the quarterback up, first of all, so these long developing routes can't happen. This is why just zone on these long down and distances are so tough, because there's too many gray areas. So Fred Warner, he has to watch like 4 different things. He shouldn't let him cross his face. Yeah, he should certainly run with him. Jair Brown, he's thinking, I have to take the highest cross, right? And he does that. He takes the deepest one. So no problems there. Dre Greenlaw's occupied because he has a threat right there. You want to play top down, which he does. He doesn't trigger on this, but there's so much space in this zone coverage that Goff has a time, because there's only a 4-man rush, to pick apart what he always does against zone. So, man, I know watching this back for the 49ers had to be rough in the first half. They would end up giving up another 3rd and 7 before ultimately forcing the Lions to settle for a field goal before the half. But one of these touchdowns wasn't on them just because of the interception. You've seen how many mistakes they made. This is just the first half that I've shown. Just an insane amount of mistakes. Goff was 11 for 15 for 122 yards between the numbers. It was the 3rd most yards that the 49ers allowed in a half all season. Detroit had 110 more rushing yards, 149 more total yards, 10 more first downs. It was just a dominant performance. Like Mooney said, they just kind of gave it to him. And then what did Wilks do in the second half? They honestly just started playing man. They started winning up front. And Detroit did help them out by not running the ball as much, but the better players just kind of prevailed. So rewatching this game, especially the first half, I really didn't have a problem with Steve Wilks as a lot of people did. Like, sure, the soft zones were pretty frustrating, but if players were late, if players make a tackle, we're not talking about Steve Wilks today at all. So I thought there were a lot of instances where some of the blitzes that I showed, some of the coverages that he had on, like he got over on Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson got over on him too. That's what happens in the NFC Championship game. But man, they cannot play this sloppy for 3 games in a row against the Chiefs, or else the next breakdown following Super Bowl Monday will not be as fun.